is on.
Hello everyone and welcome to Action RPG. I'm your host Aaron, and for today's video we're going to talk about the golden age of ARPGs, which I believe we are in right now. We've actually been talking about it for almost a year, and a couple community members keep sending me the same video. It was put out by our favorite and reliable source in gaming news, IGN, about why it's a damn good time to be an ARPG gamer. I have not watched it yet. I thought maybe it would be fun to either make fun of, or maybe I'm going to agree with everything they say. I have no idea. Now, before we get into the golden age of ARPGs, tomorrow kicks off Path of Exile 2. And a lot of people wanted me to run a third subathon. We are not doing another subathon. I just finished 65 freaking days. But what I will be doing is Witch Week. So me and my team will all be maining the Witch. I'm planning on going Infernalist, Hellhound for Path of Exile 2. And we're going to kick off Witch Week. We're going to have tons of game giveaways, dress up, wheel spins, witching hour, witch wifey taking over the stream, cauldron, hot tub. It's going to be a fun week. Check out Witch Week. Kicks off tomorrow. Okay. Now, before we watch this IGN video, I want to talk about my perspective on the golden age of ARPGs. And I want to be clear, this is in no order, all right? No order. The reason why I think we're in the golden age of action RPGs is, one, not only do we just have more to choose from, action RPGs have gone more mainstream, and there's more games coming out, more games being updated than literally any other time. Also, a rising tide raises all ships. So not only that, but we are getting better quality action RPGs than ever before. And I'm going to take you through a list of some of these. Again, I'm not saying a game's good. I'm not saying a game's bad. I'm just strictly talking about Diablo-like or Exile-like or whatever you want to coin it, Rob, from a perspective. Obviously, my favorite, Last Epoch, has Season 2 coming out Q1 2025, which is going to be absolutely amazing. Last Epoch went 1.0 February 21st to 255,000 concurrent players. So obviously we have Last Epoch. We have Path of Exile 1 Boat League that hit its highest mark ever, 350,000 concurrent players. And PoE 1 is going to continue to be updated with its next league coming in February. We have Crate Entertainment dropping a brand new DLC for Grim Dawn. A lot of people consider Grim Dawn to be one of the greatest action RPGs ever made. So for Grim Dawn, we have Fangs of Astrakan coming out next year. Obviously, tomorrow, I didn't want to put them back to back. We have Path of Exile 2 launching. This literally might be the ARPG of the decade. There is, I mean, I don't know, maybe this game probably has more hype than D4 releasing. At least from my perspective as somebody that covers this content. I mean, it is everywhere. Hype is insane. I'm very curious to see the numbers on this game tomorrow. But obviously, pushing the genre forward, Path of Exile 2 launches tomorrow. We have Titan Quest 2, which is coming really weirdly. They said winter 2024-2025, which means December, January, or February, we will be getting the next installment of Titan Quest. And there's a lot of people, me included, that are excited for this one. You have Warhammer 40k Inquisitor Martyr that just dropped their Hierophant DLC. We played this on stream. We leveled up a Hierophant. It is unequivocally the strongest and best class for Martyr. So Martyr continues to get updates. You have, of course, Diablo 4 that is now going to working on their Season 7 that will be coming up in a month. And obviously they dropped their semi-popular Vessels of Hatred DLC for Season 6. And, you know, love them or hate them, they definitely have their place in the golden age of action RPGs. You also have some games that, again, love them or hate them, continue to actually progress in a very positive way. You have Torchlight Infinite that is currently in its Frozen Canvas season. To my opinion, the best season they've ever done. You also have Undecember, surprisingly, that just had its rebirth season. And a lot of my community members literally love this game. I know it's pay to win and there's all this horrible microtransactions. So during my subathon, I'm like, sure, I will give Undecember a shot. And I had a lot of fun. I went full Centuries build. I actually had a really, really good time. And no, I did not spend a cent. So Undecember, Torchlight Infinite, D4, Martyr, Titan Quest, PoE 2, Grim Dawn, PoE 1, and Last Epoch. And honestly, I could have added a lot more to this list, okay? I just kind of went through the main ones that I jump over all the time or that I have played recently. The golden age of action RPGs. 2025 is going to be an amazing year. So those are kind of my thoughts, my opinions. I am so optimistic for the future of the genre. And now we're going to see what IGN has to say.
Right now is probably the best time in a while to be a fan of action RPGs. The developers are cooking, the gamers are eating. It's as simple as that. If you're into the ARPG genre of top-down, monster-slaying looter games, then you're most certainly bursting.
Top-down, monster hunter, looter games. This is an interesting way to describe it.
At the seams. Luckily, you're primed to loot some new, better pants anyways. If you aren't playing these games, now is the absolute best time to set everything up.
Oh boy. I see why this was sent to me over and over again this morning. Do you know what game is on screen right now? Last Epoch.
Else aside and join the buffet to grind these games down with the rest of us. Let's talk about 3 of the biggest, best, and coolest games in the genre right now and why they each deserve your time. The developers of games like Diablo 4, Path of Exile, Last Epoch, and soon Path of Exile 2 are seriously competing in a brutal war for your engagement. Grinding Gear Games has been hard at work crafting a fully fledged sequel to Path of Exile, a game that's been going strong for more than a decade and even recently hit an all-time peak, not just in concurrent player counts, but in the quality of new content as well. Meanwhile, Blizzard has spent the last year reacting to critical feedback from its fanbase to turn Diablo 4 around and introduce meatier in-game iterations that keep players satisfied.
I mean, obviously that is opinion based. I would say as somebody that has showed up and played every single Diablo 4 season, used to be a writer on Icy Veins for Barbarian and Werewolf, that normally a new season of Diablo 4 can keep me engaged for anywhere from 3 to 5 days. That's it. That's just me. Sorry, that includes Vessels of Hatred.
And we're not just getting ARPGs from legendary, iconic game studios. There's also the newcomer, Last Epoch from 11th Hour Games, a studio that built a hit game that was mostly birthed out of a Reddit conversation.
Judd!
See, about 8 years ago, Reddit user MoxJet200 made a post on the social media forum asking for input from other ARPG fans on what features would make for a great entry to the genre. That user, Judd Cobbler, is now founder and CEO of 11th Hour Games, the developers of
Man, it's wild. That's 8 years ago. Jeez.
Last Epoch, a studio with talent from all over the world working to keep this game going. While there are other notable ARPGs out.
Okay, I'm going to pause right now. So far, this is my favorite video ever from IGN because of my biases about Last Epoch. Continue.
Out there in the wild, Diablo 4, Path of Exile, and Last Epoch come together to keep us well fed throughout the year with regular seasonal or league content updates. Let's talk about Diablo 4, a game that managed to have a significant redemption arc after many players dismissed it shortly after launch and a few unfavorable seasonal releases. When Diablo 4 first released back in 2023, it felt slow and monster density was about as low as player morale. The game quickly came under fire for its lackluster in-game design, especially compared to other ARPGs that's been released since Diablo 3, which effectively altered how players engaged in these types of games. Blizzard has been quick to react, releasing season after season of meaningful content updates that stuck around permanently in the game.
And the game has definitely gotten better season over season. I think most people agree with that. It is slowly getting there.
This feels like a direct result of healthy competition in the genre. While grinding gear games implemented new ways to ease the quality of life in the endgame with Settlers of Calgar and the introduction of gold and auto mappers, Blizzard shook up the very fabric of their game to change its pace, the weight of their itemization, and overall relevance of content. Meaningful releases are necessary to maintain players over the course of their seasons. Otherwise, player numbers dwindle as they have other avenues to satisfy the craving of deleting hordes of monsters on their screen. So if you were one of the many action RPG fans let down by Diablo 4 early on, it's definitely worth a second look now. Diablo 4 Season 5's Infernal Horde's in-game activity is a perfect example of Blizzard listening to player feedback. Players asked for monster density, players got monster density.
And what's great about this is all the other 10 ancillary systems, don't have to play them anymore because you could do everything through this in Season 5. So it was great. Deleted 95% to give us this. It was perfect.
Jumping into the Infernal Hordes feels like a completely different game than what we got with Diablo 4's vanilla release. Another clue that competition is key. Look, I get it. Diablo 4 doesn't need to be another Path of Exile with a different skin. In fact, it shouldn't be. However, it's refreshing to see that a company the size of Blizzard has been backed so far into a corner that the core gameplay loop of their game is almost unrecognizable. And that's nothing but a good thing for us. I've been playing Diablo 4 seasons longer than I ever have. Raid-like content? Check. The Undercity, an infinite grindable activity where you can target farm loot? Check. I'm more motivated to chase that next upgrade and actually want to take on the uber bosses. Doesn't all feel aimless anymore.
Welcome to King's March!
Meanwhile, Path of Exile's recent Settlers of Calgar released with such high praise from fans that it set a new bar for League content quality. You can't help but thank such competition for allowing it to happen. The 3.25 update for Path of Exile was time-consuming in the best way possible and surely has to be a response to the growing split attention. The fact is that they are doing more to entice you to play their game. They have to be reactive, they have to be innovative, and they have to be creative. And it's working. My jaw legitimately dropped when Grinding Gear showed off all the quality of life updates and new content during the Settlers of Calgar reveal livestream. What do you...
So their last season, if you count console, their launcher, and Steam, they hit 350,000 concurrent players, which is a peak for PoE ever.
mean you can hire NPCs to grind while I grind? It was a dream come true for a dream I didn't even know I had. There have been nothing but promising updates for Path of Exile 2, and this most recent release for its predecessor gives me nothing but faith in what's waiting for us in the sequel. Not only will Grinding Gear Games be continually adding content to Path of Exile 2, they will also still support the original Path of Exile with regular leagues as normal. They've even alluded to porting back features that they add in Path of Exile 2. Features like gold, the currency trade market, and more prominent health bars have already been added. So not only will Grinding Gear be in constant competition with other developers, they'll also be competing with themselves.
Here lie the answers you seek.
All right, let's hear it.
But what about the little guys? 11th Hour Games are still here. Their 1.0 launch for Last Epoch was insanely popular with high concurrent counts. While Last Epoch did suffer from major server and connectivity
Over 250,000 players showed up for 1.0.
issues, the game was still an excellent grind. Their monolith endgame mapping system, while still a little shallow, has so much potential for the addition of depth and player engagement. Soon after launch, Last Epoch got its 1.1 update, Harbingers of Ruin. Sure, the update wasn't as massive as something Grinding Gear Games or Blizzard could pull off, but it shows the devs' commitment to the game that was made by devoted fans of the genre.
And EHG has already publicly said that Season 2 Update 1.2 coming Q1 2025 is going to have huge updates to Endgame. That's all I can say about it.
Genre. They're a bit silent at the moment on content updates, but the imminent release of Path of Exile and Diablo 4's ongoing seasons likely play a role here. As I mentioned, they're the little guys. They need more time to cook. In Grinding Gears Games' recent Path of Exile 2 livestream, they blew the lid off most aspects of the game. One of these aspects being their new Atlas mapping endgame system,
Kind of looks like a monolith. Sorry.
which, if you peer closely, it looks eerily similar to last Epoch's monolith
Oh, I can't believe IGN just said that. Sorry.
system, an infinite mapping system where if you die, you'll be locked out of rewards. Of course, it can be argued that Path of Exile's Delve was the actual inspiration for Grinding Gears Games' new Atlas iteration, but I like the narrative that developers are just sharing ideas now because they love and need our attention. Anyways, you hungry yet? Luckily, the sweet ambrosial allure of this genre is hearty enough to keep you well fed. When one game is on the downswing, but you're still looking to scratch that lootin' and slay an itch, ARPG games are aplenty and of excellent quality. Diablo games, the Path of Exiles, Grim Dawn, the Torchlight series, Lost Ark, the list goes on. The genre has never been better than it is now. It's a space in gaming where the developers are truly getting the meaning of live service and what it takes to keep players engaged and happy. And to that we say, keep them coming. How do you feel about the current state of ARPGs? Are you excited for the future of playing through classics from the past? Let us know in the comments below, and for more monster killing and mindless looting, check out our build guides for Diablo 4 Spiritborns, and stick around for all the latest on Path of Exile 2. And of course, for everything else, keep it here on IGN.
I think it's important to give credit where credit is due. Brought up Grim Dawn and Torchlight at the end of the video. It actually seemed like the person making the video might actually know something about the genre. I was actually pretty entertained from an IGN video. Don't clip that. I can't believe I just said that out loud. Witch Week for PoE 2 kicks off tomorrow. We will be maining Infernalist Witch, trying to basically recreate Fire Necro from last Epoch inside of Path of Exile 2. We have a team of 9 people behind me that's going to be working on spreadsheets and testing, and we're really going to try and make a splash with Witch content for Path of Exile 2. So hopefully that is great. Please like, share, and subscribe if you think I have earned it. So excited for the release tomorrow, and honestly, just 2025. We had a goal of 50,000 subs on YouTube for the year, and we just hit 73,000. So just thank you so much all for the support. Also, yesterday we had Darth Microtransaction on the Town Portal podcast with me and Frosty LaRue. That video is up as well if you want to check it out. All right, I'm done. Hopefully you were entertained or at least learned something. Aaron, out.